It's action. It's drama. It's comedy. It's Decian, the superhero webcomic. Decian has superhero antics and sexy girls. Catch updates weekly at Decian.com and NoSuperPants.com.
Welcome to Videoland.
Mega High! Wake up, Kitticorus!
Welcome to Castlevania.
It's Congo Land!
Mother Brain will get you, little princess.
Princess, the palace is under siege!
Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Kevin, I thought I told you to clean up your room. Whoa!
Captain N, the Game Master.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Pixels in the Animation. I am one of your hosts, TF2 and Mike, and joining me in this epic journey is TV's Mr. Deal.
What a terrible night for a curse.
Yes, because there is a nightmare on Mother Brain Street.
Yes.
Oh boy. Today we begin the Captain N the Game Master reviews as we talk about the first 3 episodes of this all-gen gaming cartoon. Ha ha ha. Not really, but but first we need to talk about the games that featured in this series. So, want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all that stuff. We are back. Episodes 21 through 32 will be all about Captain N. And then we all get raccoon tails after that.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now, I gave you 4 and then 11. I gave you 14, 15 episodes without any Mario, so. Alright, so Captain and the Game Master. When did you first, was this in your watching? Because I know you're slightly older than I am, but was this in your viewing at all?
Yeah, because it was still the era of Saturday morning. There really wasn't anything else on except on weekday afternoon, so I watched it, because this is actually better than the Super Mario Super Show, and I watched that. So,
Well, yeah.
so yeah, most of the episodes of this show are actually animated pretty well. There's a couple stinkers that I've seen off so far, but most of them are pretty good.
Yeah, I've only found one. It was a costume. It was a color costume era on that Whip Boy. So, this was Nintendo. These are all Nintendo games, right? Pretty much.
Well, they're all NES games. There's
Right.
licensing from Capcom and Konami and a bunch of different companies, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are all NES games, 8-bit games. Because Videoland was an interactive video game reality, it featured several different worlds. And you might be thinking, oh, but where is Super Mario Brothers? Well, it had its own worlds, and it didn't need to be in this, thankfully. But they did use I did notice a lot of some of the sound effects were from Mario.
Yep.
I don't know how many of them. I know the coin was in there.
Yeah, a lot of music from the Super Show. I didn't actually hear any of the actual Mario songs per se.
Oh no! Yeah, no. I believe Kevin references Super Mario Brothers once.
Yeah.
In like the first episode, which we'll get to here in a bit. But I think most of the time when he shoots his zapper, since it was the NES zapper used for Duck Hunt, and the zapper wasn't used for Mario, but since the control pad and the zapper were used for those 2 games, most of the enemy defeat hits are Mario sound effects, right?
I don't think so. I can't recall offhand where the sound each of the soundtracks come from.
Yeah.
Some of them are from the NES, and some are definitely not. I mean, the NES. If you know how the sound chip works, it's like some of these sounds are obviously not from that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so this is A to Z list of all the games that were featured. You can find this on the Captain N Wiki page, but there's some interesting games that they have featured in
Yeah.
this. They have Adventures of Bayou Billy, Bo Jackson Baseball, Burger Time. Every time I see that name, all I can think of is it Strawberry Jacuzzi. Oh God, good burger, Jesus Christ. California Games, Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, Donkey Kong, the music from Donkey Kong, and music from Donkey Kong Jr., Dragon Warrior, because I refuse to call it what it's called now.
Dragon Quest.
Yes, that's the wrong name.
Well, it was originally Dragon Quest, and the thing is that there was a tabletop RPG in America called Dragon Quest already, so that's why they changed it to Dragon Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Fuck Xanadu. I believe I said that right.
Actually,
Final
actually I think it's called Fuzz Xanadu because it's
Okay, yeah,
based on a
it's-
series called Xanadu, which has nothing to do with Olivia Newton-John, and it was on the Japanese Nintendo, which was called the Famicom. So it's Famicom Xanadu, Fuzz Xanadu. They like their I forget what that type of word is called, but it's like a conjunction word.
Yeah, they like their Z's to be X's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Final Fantasy, Kid Icarus, music only. Apparently, I mean they do go to Mount Icarus and all that stuff, but according to this, it's mostly the music.
Yeah, you hear the that opening title scene a lot. The that's in there constantly.
Yeah. Marble Madness music in the episode I Wish I Was a Wombat Man. The studio world of Marbleopolis is structurally inspired by Marble Madness, right down to a giant black marble weapon with which Mother Brain attacks the N team. Also in the earlier episode, the Trojan Dragon, the theme from the first level of Marble Madness, can be heard several times. Mega Man 1 through 3 music. And they do, when they go to, I believe it's next week, we'll talk about Trouble in Megaland. They do use the destroy effect for Mega Man when he turns into a bunch of balls.
Yeah.
Metroid music. Nemesis music mostly featured in Season 2, and we'll get to that, I guess. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!
Yeah.
Remember when we were doing Super Show and Magic Johnson showed up?
Yes.
I'm really surprised they didn't get Tyson to do an animated voice for this.
Oh God.
I'm really surprised they did not approach him or anything to do this. Paperboy.
There's an interesting note about Paperboy. We'll get to it. There's actually a Paperboy episode later, so I'll get more into depth on that. But basically, the original concept of the show is going to be called Buddy Boy, and Paperboy was going to be the main character. And what happened was there was a Nintendo Power article or story that was called Captain Nintendo, and both ideas kind of merged, and it became Captain N. And Paperboy was kind of scrapped.
Yeah. Wow.
But more about Paperboy later.
Yeah. Okay, so Puss in Boots. Wait, DreamWorks wasn't around yet, was it? Or at least animation wasn't.
God, I'm still on Paperboy. No, Puss in Boots. That's another interesting one. That's actually a really old story, and I might as well say it right now. The Puss in Boots video game was actually based on the anime, so kind of a weird sort of anime connection. Puss in Boots show up, but not really. Actually, you've seen the anime Puss in Boots before because it's that cat character you always see in the end credits of Transformers.
Oh, geez.
That's the character. But obviously, it's a different design for Captain N because they
Yeah.
couldn't use that.
Yeah. Okay. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Why? Oh, I remember. There's a Robin Hood. There's a Robin Hood episode. I think in season 2. I might no. It's the opener to season 3. That's what it is. Solar Striker. Germ Wars was, among others, used the stage 1-2 theme from this game. Super Mario Brothers. In the first episode, as I said, Kevin briefly compares the Ultimate Warp Zone to this game. Many of these sound effects came from this game, such as jumping. The music for both the Underground and Fortress stages also is featured. Also, background music featured songs were shared with the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. I haven't heard any of the feature songs yet, so I don't know. Music only for Super Mario 2, Tetris, music, and sound effects, I believe. Like when the blocks drop. Wizards and Warriors. What do you think of that?
Well, it's made by my favorite video game company ever, Rare. So
Wait,
you don't see me, but I'm doing a thumbs down.
I thought Wizards and Warriors was Acclaim.
Well, Acclaim was just a publisher.
License?
It was a publisher, and what Rare would do is they would go to all these game publishers and say, "Hey, we have all these great game ideas. We'll make a game for you." So actually, Rare ended up being one of the most prolific game producer for the NES ever. Like they made more games than anybody. So yeah, they made Battletoads for Trade West. They made stuff for Acclaim, LJN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get you on a Rare tangent.
Yeah, well, Battletoads did not come out in the lifespan of Captain N, so we're spared.
Thankfully for that. And of course, Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Yes.
A lot of interesting games. I will say that Kid Icarus, Mega Man, and Castlevania, obviously because those are the 3 sidekicks to Captain N, they were used the most. That and Metroid, since Mother Brain is on Metroid. I believe, and again, I'm not looking at it right now, but wasn't Lana a original character that they created for this?
Yeah, she's not from any game.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So yeah. So 4 characters. As we just mentioned Lana, we have Kevin Keene, the leader, protagonist, and main character of the series. Initially, he is a reluctant hero and is often found at odds with the rest of the N team. Now, I don't care who you were in the late 80s, early 90s, every kid wanted to get sucked into their TV to be this kid. Combining, this is the best part about a live action / animated thing, is the only live action parts is when he's playing his game and then he gets sucked into the TV and the rest of it's animated.
Right.
So there's no needing to see this young kid in drag, or there's no, strange off the wall vampire guests. There's no homeless runaways coming and lying to him.
Although interesting, as he's getting sucked into the TV, for a split second he turns into the Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
That weird CG rendering. What the hell is that about?
Oh, the green guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. If the listeners can tell us, let us know. That was weird.
Like he turned into a Virtua Fighter character for a second.
Yeah. We have Duke, Kevin's dog, who jumped into the Ultimate Warp Zone immediately after Kevin was sucked in and ended up in Video Land. Duke is interesting. He's a dog. I mean, he's not like, oh my god, he's going to get super character development, but it's kind of cool that he followed his master into the game. Okay, so we did mention Lana. She is hot, thankfully.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we have the 3 sidekicks: Simon Belmont, Kid Icarus, and Mega Man.
And of the 3, Kid Icarus is the only one that even remotely resembles the game counterpart.
Well, Mega Man, oh, okay, outside of him saying Mega all the time, he's pretty faithful as far as at least when they play through his world.
Yeah, but he's green. He's in the game.
Yeah.
He's called the Blue Bomber.
Blue Bomber, yeah. Yeah. Simon Belmont, I've never played a Castlevania game. I don't know what it is. I never, I was more into Mario and Zelda and all that other stuff.
Castlevania is basically an unofficial spin-off of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it's got a lot of like 16th century Europe in it. So he's supposed to basically be like a European guy that runs around in like furry clothing for some reason, and carries a whip with him. And they turned him into like a World War One flying ace. He kind of looks because he's got the goggles. And I don't know.
So he's a combination of the World War One flying ace, Blade the Vampire Hunter, and Indiana Jones.
Something like that. I don't know if I'd compare him to Blade. I mean, he's
Well,
only similar
no,
in vocation.
No, the fact that it says, and he always says Simon Belmont, Vampire Hunter. That's the only connection to Blade. Simon in the games is much more enjoyable than Simon in the show. What possessed them to give this character these traits?
I can only imagine that it's like a copyright thing. It's just like, if for whatever reason they couldn't get Capcom and Konami to sign on later, they kind of made their own versions of the characters that look unique. And I mean, that's really the only reason I can come up with that they changed them so drastically.
Yeah, I'm already gonna. I don't want to spoil it, folks, but I think I'm gonna tip my hand at this point. Simon Belmont is the Toad of this series. Simon Belmont, for me, is the Toad and Sprite of this series. Oh my god.
See, I think Mega Man and Kid Icarus are the Toad and Sprite, respectively, of this show. Because even though
good.
Simon Belmont's a butt, he's funny, at least. Because he's this conceited asshole, but he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be this guy that, says all these pompous things and then trips over his own 2 feet. And then Kevin comes in and saves the day. I mean, that's kind of the joke of the character.
No, yeah, I get it. I get the joke. I just don't like the joke. Now you said Kid Icarus and Mega Man are the Sprite and Toad of the series for you. Okay, I get the whole Icasis thing. Yes, I will agree that adding Icus to the end of everything, or Simonius or whatever the hell. I get that's annoying as hell, and I agree. Mega Man, other than him saying Mega way too much, he's not that annoying.
He's got that smoker's voice.
Eh.
He sounds like Patty and Selma.
If they were men. Yeah. And then, of course, in the second season, because of the popularity at the time, we have Game Boy.
Oh boy! And here's the scrappy duo of the show.
Okay, so since you put it that way, Kevin is way more competent than Fred, so there's no way Kevin could be the Fred character. Lana would be Daphne. Simon would be Shaggy, a very strange version of Shaggy. Kid Icarus and Mega Man up for Velma. I don't know which one would be.
Well, they're usually the two solving everything.
Yeah, and then Duke is Scooby. And of course, as you said, Game Boy is Scrappy. Oh my god, Game Boy is Scrappy. That's so wrong.
Or maybe he kind of like passes up Scrappy and goes right into Flim Flam. The 13 goes to Scooby Doo.
No, I know.
Okay.
The only reason why I get Flim Flam is a bad character, but the only reason why I like him is because it's Sue Blue as a boy. All right, so the main villains. We have Mother Brain from Metroid. She is the primary villain of the series. She's always trash-talking, abusive, power-hungry, brain in a giant bottle. Is this what she really looks like in the game?
No, and in the game, I don't even think she's supposed to be the leader. I don't know if it was retconned or what, but in the games, I think Ridley, the kind of dragon-looking thing, is supposed to be the leader of the space pirates. But for some reason, it got interpreted that Mother Brain was the leader, because Mother Brain's the last character you face in the game, but it's not really a character. It's more like a computer run by like an organic brain or something. It's hard to explain, but.
Okay, well, the only image other than what we see in the show, the only image I'm finding just by clicking on her name here in the article is an image from Metroid Zero Mission. I don't know. I'm looking at the original game. I don't.
Well, Zero Mission is basically a remake of the original game.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Mother Brain is by far the creepiest looking character in this entire show.
Played by the same person who did the voice of Audrey 2, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, Levi Stubbs,
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's so wrong. Oh my god. I gotta stop flashing to that Hooper X speech in Chasing Amy. I really do.
God.
Alright. King Hippo from Punch Out. This is the earliest version of Optimus Primal. Well, actually, Donkey Kong is the earliest version of Optimus Primal. Eggplant Wizard, voiced by Michael Donovan, and Dr. Wily from Mega Man. And Dr. Wily, I actually interviewed Dr. Wily, Ian James Corlett. Very, because he, see, everybody was like, oh, Ian James Corlett, he was Mega Man. I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was Dr. Wily.
Oh.
Yes, he was both. What do you think of the three sidekicks to Mother Brain?
I actually like them. I like that King Hippo is kind of this big fat dundering buffoon, and I like that Eggplant Wizard's kind of this fey sort of wuss character who has that voice that I can't imitate, but I've heard other people do a hilarious imitation of it. And Dr. Wily, he's very stereotypical mad scientist. He's got that Eastern Europe voice to him that I hear in like so many mad scientist characters. And on an occasional beat, they'll even have Dracula from Castlevania, but because they don't want to use the universal versions for intellectual property reasons, it's always like this weird yellow colored version of the character.
Yeah. So the minor villains, as you mentioned, Donkey Kong and the Count, Dragon Lord, Ganon, we'll talk about him way later, and Malkill from Wizards and Warriors, Medusa from Kid Icarus. Venus Torzo had a huge job on this series, playing Lana and Medusa. Oh my god! So the interesting thing is, I'm looking at the article here, is that Donkey Kong, which is no surprise to me as soon as I heard the screams and shouts from him, is voiced by Gary Chalk.
Oh yeah.
So is the Count. According to Wiki, it says he is. That's two very different voices, and it just shows how wide Gary's range is. With Donkey Kong, as I'm watching this, all I can think of is paint him blue and we have Optimus Primal.
Oh jeez.
Oh
Very
boy.
angry Optimus Primal.
Yeah. Yep. Other characters that we will see along the way, we have King Charles, the original monarch of Videoland and father of both Lana and Lyle. Zelda and Link, uh, both from The Legend of Zelda, obviously, and thankfully, Cynthia Preston and Jonathan Potts reprised their roles as Zelda and Link, respectively.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Yeah, very, very good call. Oh man, it doesn't say who plays Wombat Man. Damn. Wombat Man, which obviously is a parody of Batman.
Wow, man, that was a very strange non sequitur in that one episode.
Yeah, it was. Mayor Squaresley from Tetris, Bayou Billy, Prince Plenty, the monarch that reigns over Congo Land, except when Donkey Kong is involved. Prince Plenty is blue-skinned, like all the humanoid inhabitants of Congo Land. He's a very soft-spoken and friendly ruler who manages to keep tranquility in Congo Land, even with Donkey Kong on the loose. Oh, I thought it was light right, not right light. Oh my god.
It is supposed to be Dr. Light.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
they screwed up in
can't-
the show.
I don't know if it's a screw up or if it's something that, like you were saying about copyright. Maybe but he looks he looks the same as he does in the games. So
I think it was because they got the rights to do all of it. They got the trademarks and everything. So I think they just screwed up
yeah, probably.
because there was a lot of L and R flipping in the early NES days. Sometimes they didn't even get it right in the games.
And they didn't even have L&R buttons until.
Well, I mean like in alphanumerics. In the
Yeah.
actual games, it's like you'd have like for Bionic Commando in different games, it would be Lad Spencer and Brad Spencer. Yeah, on the controllers, I don't know how the Japanese people got the L and R buttons straight.
Yeah. And then we have Mega Girl.
Oh boy.
I would gladly take Game Boy and roll over this one any day. She is supposed to be the role for Captain N as far as that goes. So, alright, we are gonna go ahead and get straight into the episodes. Some of the clips that you're going to hear in a lot of the Captain N era might be a little bit longer than normal because I tried to represent the show the best it could so people could remember watching the show. Because I'll tell you right now, folks, I had to have an internet imp, or I shouldn't say an imp, an internet searcher find me Captain N because I went to buy the DVD set from Shout Factory on Amazon, and because it's out of print, these out of print sets, people ask for astronomical prices. I think last time I looked on Amazon, the 4-disc Captain N Complete Series set, which only has the first 2 seasons, we'll talk about that later, it was going for over $90 new. It was ridiculous. There wasn't even a used copy under $50, and I wasn't gonna spend the money on that. So, all right, up first is Kevin in Videoland. We'll be back after this.
It was a dark day in Videoland. For 7 years, Mother Brain's minions have laid siege on the Palace of Power. We're too strong for them.
Who's too strong for them, King Hippo?
You're too strong for them, Mother Brain.
What's so funny, eggplant wizard?
Who, me? Nothing, Mother Brain. Nothing's funny at all.
That's right. especially for those poor souls in the Palace of Power. It won't be long before I, beautiful goddess that I am, become queen of Videoland.
As Mother Brain plots the palace's doom, the beautiful Princess Lana is filled with despair.
I'm afraid we can't hold out much longer. Kid Icarus, your loyalty has never diminished.
Just doing my duty, Your Highness.
Mega Man, you fought bravely and well.
A pleasure to serve you, Your Worship.
Simon, you've been our anchor in a long and terrible storm.
I know.
I thank you all for your efforts. I only wish it didn't have to end this way.
Do not give up hope yet, Princess.
Simon, let go of me.
There are powers beyond those of which you are familiar. The legend of Videoland foretells of a young warrior from another land who shall warp into our world and lead you to victory. He is Captain N, the Game Master. Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Simon Belmont, Kid Icarus, Mega Man?
And you must be Captain N.
You guys aren't real. You're just so many computer bytes in my game cartridges. Wow, they're real.
Looks like the ultimate warp brought us the ultimate whim.
I'm Princess Lana.
I'm in love. I mean, I'm Kevin. Where am I?
Well, you're in Videoland. The ultimate warp zone brought you here.
You mean like Warp Zone 4 in Super Mario Brothers?
Something like that. The legend foretold of your coming to help restore freedom to our world. That's why it gave you that super power pad and zapper.
Me restore freedom to Videoland? Hey, I don't even have my driver's license yet. And this is just a toy. This can't be happening to me.
Sure is, Copernicus. It's happening to all of us.
If you cannot help us, Mother Brain will conquer all Videoland. And our freedom will be lost forever.
Hey, you got the wrong guy. I'm going home. Come on, Duke.
There, don't worry, Princess. I'll save Videoland.
Your cuteness! Wait!
You were our only hope, but you let her down.
You get a low score for this game.
Alright, as I said, first episode, Kevin in Videoland. Kevin Keene is sucked into Videoland through his television and must team up with the rest of the N team to rescue Lana from Mother Brain, elements from Donkey Kong and Metroid. For a first episode, I really enjoyed it. You know, it sets up the plot and the premise very well. The voice acting is pretty decent. I don't mean it say decent is bad, but I mean it's very good for the characters that we see at first. I like how they have this whole Wizard of Oz vibe in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was kind of awesome.
Oh, with the characters marching and doing OEO. Yes.
OEO.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is really funny.
Yeah, I was trying to make out what characters those were. I couldn't tell. I think some of the flying enemies were from Kid Icarus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Palace of Power, depending on when you look at it, sometimes it's golden, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. It's kind of like Autobot headquarters. Does it have 3 rockets? Does it have 5? It depends on what background painting they're using.
Yeah. every time I saw the palace as gold, I'm like, and in several of the scenes, I'm like, hey, that's why the flying monkey OEO people are around it, because it's the yellow brick road. But no, I mean, sets up a reluctant hero. It shows you how annoying the three sidekick characters are right off the bat. It shows you how open to this new person is that Lana is. Um, I I don't know how Simon could even think that he'd have a shot with Lana. I I, I just don't get that.
Because he's arrogant.
Well, I know he's arrogant, but it's like every time he tries, she shoots him down, and it isn't like a oh my god. No, how could this be unless Zelda she really like it's nothing like that. It's nothing like Zelda loves Link at all. Like Lana does. Lana is let's just be friends. You're stuck in the friend zone, Simon. You ain't getting none of this.
Yeah, the kindest thing I can say about Lana's relationship with Simon is that she hasn't put a restraining order on him yet.
Yet. Oh, so you don't like Lana at all?
No, I like Lana. I'm just saying that like they have nothing in terms of chemistry.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Um Mother Brain just even as a kid she creeped me out. And I had never I don't think I maybe played Metroid once or twice, and it was like the first stage of the first level, and that was it. I was like, oh, okay, so the character can roll into a ball and go down this hole and go down that hole and shoot and jump and okay, I'm gonna go back to Duck Hunt now. Thank you. I'm not saying that the Metroid games are bad at all. I'm just saying back then as a kid I had zero interest in Metroid. So Mother Brain really did freak me out, and she still does to this day. You know, I'll be 34 next month, and just the design of the character is just it's a brain in a jar. Yeah, it's worse than
wait till you see her in Super Metroid. Yeah, but anyway, you were saying.
It's worse than the Bubble Boy from Seinfeld.
Oh God! Sorry, it's the Moops.
But overall, I really like the plot of this episode. Like I said, it sets everything up really nicely. There weren't any real animation errors. The animation I noticed is really well done.
Yeah, right away, it is the best animated episode that we've seen thus far.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What were your initial thoughts of the plot in this one?
Well, it's very basic. I mean, it's just getting the show started. So it's Kevin shows up. He's reluctant. He wants to go back home. He doesn't know what's going on. Then the princess gets captured. He's like, oh hell, now I have to go rescue her. And that sets up the rest of the show. Basically, he starts to go home at the end, and then he hears his mom. Being like, take out the garbage, clean up your room, stop playing the games. He's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm a loser in the real world. So he decides to stay.
I don't know if he's so much a loser. It's never really said what school he goes to, but he didn't just get that varsity jacket.
That's true.
When he went into Videoland, he had it already. So maybe it was like North Hills High or I don't know. It sounds like he's a California boy, so maybe it was North Beverly Hills High. I don't know.
Well, I don't mean like like loser in terms of social status. I mean like just loser in terms of, wow, I'm a hero in this world, and if I go back home, I have to take out the trash.
Yeah. And I'm sure you knew. Listeners might not know this, but his mom, and this is really. This just creeps me out because they eventually try to have Kevin and Lana have a relationship. His mom is voiced by Venus Terzot. Also, Lana is like, oh god, just yeah. Any other thoughts on the overall plot of the show?
The plot, no.
All right. Okay, so setting up for the Captain N era. Back in Zelda, we had Triforces of Power and Wisdom. Back in Mario, we had Goombas and Fire Flowers. Here in Captain N, the good moments, what we do like, are going to be called Power Pad moments. And the bad moments, the stuff we don't like, is going to be a section called You Got Zapped. So, let's head to the first Power Pads after this.
Oh, Father, the legend has failed us. The one it brought is just not strong enough to meet the challenge. I've tried to lead our people since you disappeared, but I failed you.
So, for Power Pad moments, what do you got?
Well, basic comments, good animation, decent setup. I did have one kind of geek out moment, is that if you notice, the thing that summons him is the Power Glove, but not just any Power Glove. It's actually the prototype Power Glove, because the prototype Power Glove does not have like the D-pad on it. Mm-hmm. And I'll actually send you a picture to throw in the show notes. But yeah, okay. I thought that was kind of neat. That was actually there, and they don't actually reference it ever. They don't say, hey, let's go to the Power Glove. But it's like one of those things you could actually miss, even though it's in the title credits every single time.
Yeah. For me, like I've already said today, every kid wanted to be sucked into their TV/game system. That was just so good. It was one of the coolest parts about this show. And then my next note is when we get to Congo Land, Donkey Kong, God, taking a bath on about a Saturday night. Splish splash, he was taking a bath.
That's kind of a weird Deke thing. They always found the weirdest way to go to a scene like that. It's like what's the weirdest thing we can do with Donkey Kong? Let's put him in a bathtub.
Yeah.
With a shower cap on.
Yeah. Because my next note was because Simon got squashed by him, so it was a 2D rollout of Simon. The 3D character ended up being the 2D flat. It's like, oh, I know what they were referencing there.
What?
Simon Belmont is the true villain of this series. He is Judge Doom.
Okay.
Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, look, it's Optimus Primal in a towel. Oh, boy. So, Kevin is teaching Lana how to dance later. He's got some pretty good power moves.
Yeah.
He does.
It looks like he's using the Game Genie, though, because that was some of the tricks that Game Genie could do. It's like walk in air. And he was doing that.
Yeah, well, the walking in air he was walking in air, which the Game Genie could do, but he was moonwalking for the most part in the air. I mean, that's, I love this might be minor, but I really did enjoy the sound effect of when the doors, like when he zaps the doors to break into play, like when he broke into Mother Brain's throne room or lair or whatever it's supposed to be. I like that brick falling sound effect. I think that was really cool. Was that something we've heard before? Was that maybe one of the Mario sound effects?
I'll have to go back and listen. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I should have made notes about the sound effects, but I thought I'd be doing that constantly, not actually watching if I did
that. Maybe next episode or next podcast episode, I should say.
Right.
All right. Anything else for Power Pad moments?
No.
All right, well, let's go get zapped.
Isn't that too bad? The ultimate warp zone has drained the palace's power, giving me a perfect opportunity to strike a fatal blow at the heart of Videoland. I've got a job for you.
Anything you desire, my sweet potato.
Not you, eggplant wizard. King Hippo.
No fair. It's my turn. He got to do your last evil deed.
Let me tell you why. Because you bust up the last job, you incompetent vegetable. King Hippo, go to the palace and punch out their defenses. Then, kidnap the princess and bring her to me.
So for the Getting Zapped section, we're only one episode in, and I have two notes that both pertain to a certain whipping boy. Simon is the worst character in the entire series. We're one episode in, and I already hated him. And I have not watched this series since the original DVDs came out back in 2007. So, if I haven't watched this series in 7 years, and I watched the first episode and I immediately loathe one character after not seeing it in 7 years, there's something wrong.
Okay.
And a whip that whoops people by itself. Come on. His whip's alive. Really?
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
Oh, my God. What did you have?
Well, this is going to be kind of a running theme, and we'll get more into it when we get to episode 2 of Captain N. But this show has like some weird interpretations of the game. Sometimes they're like right on the money, and sometimes they're way off. Like a small example would be like when Kevin and Lana get dumped into levels of Metroid, and I'm like, there are no moving platforms in Metroid. But even a bigger example was like they're running from Donkey Kong and they're running up the volcano. And Kevin says something like, "I've played Donkey Kong a million times and I know what I'm doing." And I'm like, "There's no volcano stage in Donkey Kong. It's on a building." And you know this jungle setting, it's like more like Donkey Kong Country, which didn't even come out yet. So I'm like, this isn't Donkey Kong, Kevin. Shut up. I mean, maybe you could argue that it resembles Donkey Kong Jr. Maybe.
Okay. Well, wait, didn't you have to... In Donkey Kong, didn't you have to push him over?
Nope. It was just chasing him up girders and ladders.
Right, but at the top, didn't you have to...
Oh yeah, there was like 6 keys you had to... No, wait, I'm thinking of Donkey Kong Jr. No, the last stage in Donkey Kong is with the rivets. And you knock all the rivets out, and then the whole thing collapses, and Donkey Kong falls down.
Yeah. Maybe they could have been combining Mario's lava pits.
Maybe.
That's where the volcano came from. Anything else for zapped moments for this one?
Not really. It was a good episode in terms of animation, kind of light on plot, but nothing I would say that was bad, really.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next episode.
Within her lair on the sinister world of Metroid, Mother Brain scans her trillion brain cells in search of a clue to Captain N's weakness.
Did you see that? It's Captain N. Just before he was sucked through the ultimate warp zone into Video Land.
Rats! Way to go, Captain Klutz. I just can't figure my way around this swampy bayou.
I found Captain N's weak spot.
You mean he's afraid of rats?
No, you rat brain! Bayou Land! He doesn't know his way around Bayou Land!
Up next is How's Bayou? I know I drew that out longer than it's supposed to be, but anyway. Mother Brain discovers Kevin isn't very good at the Bayou Billy video game, and sets a trap to lure him into Bayou Land. And of course, elements of the Adventures of Bayou Billy. There's a note here. Original airing of this episode was of an unfinished version, which included some shots missing their backgrounds. This was corrected in reruns, but oddly, the unfinished version is the version featured on the DVD releases and Hulu.com.
Okay.
Wikipedia, you need to update your article because I don't even think Captain N is on Hulu.com. Because I looked for it and it wasn't there. Okay, so Bayou Billy. Have you ever played Bayou Billy?
Yes, and it's horrendously difficult, which makes this plot actually a pretty good one as far as Mother Brain goes. Like, here's a game that no one can beat. Let's put Captain N in it. It really, yeah. The thing about Bayou Billy is that it's a localization of a game called Mad City, and in Japan, Mad City is actually a really good game. In America, The Adventures of Bayou Billy, they increased the hit points on all of the characters and made it so that they hurt you a lot more. So it's like you almost have the same amount of hit points as the enemies, which for a game in which you have to beat up like thousands or hundreds and hundreds of characters, that's kind of ridiculous. So a lot of people have not even beaten this game. until uh, until Battletoads came out, this game was like the bane of my existence. So yeah, this was actually a good idea on Mother Brain's part.
Well, it was a good idea, but I'll get to the horrible execution. Um, I like the plot. It's interesting because I'd only seen clips and commercials for Bayou Billy. It was never a game that I had any interest in. But it was interesting. I mean, you are right. It is an interesting plot. Her trying to get him to something that he doesn't do well, and apparently she didn't really follow through very well in the plot, because if she was going to really trap him in Bayou Land, she would have found a way to trap Bayou Billy first, so he wouldn't have taught Kevin all the stuff that he taught him. So, all right, we are gonna we're gonna do things a little bit differently. We're gonna get zapped at this moment. So join us, as we flip the script here in Pixels in the Animation after this.
Now stop thinking and get me a RoboCat!
It's tuned to your brainwaves, Mother Brain. Just think a thought and the RoboCat will respond.
Let's see.
Looks like Dr. Wily's robot doesn't work.
On the contrary, it works perfectly. Okay, little RoboCat, go into the warp zone and do your stuff.
So we are getting zapped first. Oh boy. Her plot is to get Kevin into Bayou Land because he doesn't play the game very well. That's interesting. But how is it that she can even see video footage of him in the real world play? All we ever saw him play was Punch-Out. We never saw him play anything else. But she has the live action video footage of him playing a game, and then it switches to animation or gameplay of the Bayou Billy game. How the hell? There's no way she has access. I don't get. That's a clusterfuck of logistics right there.
You found a plot hole in a Saturday morning cartoon. you get one cookie.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying it just irked me when I watched it again. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, and he's playing Bayou Billy, except that it doesn't really look like Bayou Billy. Because Bayou Billy kind of resembles like the Ninja Turtle games, because it kind of had that kind of
overworld.
Yeah, not really over, but kind of that sort of perspective where you could kind of move up and down as well as left and right. And in the show, it kind of looked more like Super Mario Brothers.
With alligators,
yeah. With alligators.
That's probably what they did. Mother Brain, even though she creeps me out as far as her look, she's a damn saint compared to Simon. Simon is he is the big... I get it. He's supposed to be the jerk character. I get it. He's supposed to be the vain character. He's supposed to be the... But, oh my god. Half the crap he says in this episode just pisses me off. And my next note. Simon Belmont is the true villain of this series. He just is. He just... Oh my god. One tree branch, and the frogman is defeated. Really? One tree branch? Seriously?
I don't remember there being frog people in Bayou Billy. Of course, I never got that far, so maybe there
are. Simon is dumber than Forrest Gump. This character is so so bad. What'd you have for zapped moments?
Just, as much as they kind of made a nod to the difficulty of Bayou Billy. The execution, the way the game is represented in the show is nothing like the game. Because the game is kind of like a nod to like, I don't know, it's kind of like weird B movies, like a Golden Globus movie or maybe even Cannon films, mixed in with a little Crocodile Dundee, of course. And the way it's represented here, it's like, I don't know, it's so strange. They definitely got the Bayou thing down, but it's like that's not really what the whole game was about.
All right, we're gonna punch our power pads after this.
At the other end of Videoland, at the Palace of Power, Mother Brain's sinister plot begins to unfold.
I'm not sure I can do it, Kevin.
Oh, of course you can, Princess. Dancing is easy. Here, I'll show you.
Ooh, I like this.
I've got some pretty cool power moves, too. Say, why don't we go back to my world? My friends would hyperventilate if they saw me dancing with the Princess of Videoland.
Some other time, Kevin. I've got too many responsibilities here.
Hey! Whoa! Dude, will you stop chasing things? He's been getting me in trouble doing that ever since he was a pup. Sorry if I upset your cat.
But I don't have a cat.
All right, everybody, it's time to mash those buttons. Now, I only have 2 notes here, and one of them is just a general note, but the main note I made was that I hope they pay attention to this in the future, but when the zapper got wet, he could no longer use it for a period of time. I hope to God they pay attention to this in the future episodes, because if they don't, that's going to be a huge plot hole. The animation, still very good. There wasn't anything too glaring for me. There wasn't any kind of like miscues. There wasn't any, this person is in the wrong colored outfit, so there wasn't any of that. What about you? What'd you like about this one?
I don't know. It wasn't a bad episode. It just didn't really capture me as much as the first episode did. I did like that Simon's a jerk, just because I don't know. I just think jerks are funny, especially when they get their comeuppance. It's like, as much as Simon acts like a dick, he does pay for it.
No, he does. I don't know. Simon's a character that just pisses me off. Just does. I don't know why. He just does, though. All right, let's move on to the final episode of the day.
Deep within the brain-shaped world of Metroid, a strange experiment will soon have an unexpected effect on Captain N, the Game Master.
How are you coming with my little monster, Dr. Wily?
His body is finished, Mother Brain.
Good. Then he's ready to challenge Captain N.
But yet, I need to program his brain first. But for that, we'll need this special device I invented. Just aim it at Captain N. And it will record his memory of the past down on this tape. Then, all I have to do is program the data into my creation, and he will become Captain N's greatest challenge.
Sounds delightful. We better get started.
Lastly, up today in the first episode of the Captain N era here in Pixels Animation on episode 21, we have the most dangerous Game Master. Anything to say about the show title before I get into the plot?
Yeah, just once again, another episode of a cartoon that rips off a movie from the 1930s. a movie that was filmed at the same time as King Kong, used the same sets, and it's been ripped off not only in cartoons but multiple movies. And I think I've already said everything that needs to be said about it in previous episodes, so that's all I need to say.
Dr. Wily builds an android replica of Mike Vincent, a bully that tormented Kevin on Earth, and lures the N team to Castlevania in order to trap them. Elements from Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Before I even talk about the plot, let's go to the end of the episode, the very end, when Kevin's hanging off the tower. The penultimate scene where Mike is either going to save him or let him die. What music is that?
I didn't make a note of that, so.
It doesn't sound to me it sounds like Zelda or Mario, but I know it probably isn't. For any of the listeners, I've got the video clip. I'll go back and watch it and see and pull it out, but I just don't. It sounds so familiar to me, and yet it's one of those things. Oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just don't know.
There is like a sound clip or a music beat that they use from Castlevania 2 that I hear in a lot of these episodes. It's the one where it's like do 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 do. I don't know if that's the one you're thinking of, but that's actually the password screen on Castlevania 2.
Okay. It might be it, I'm not sure. So Most Dangerous Game Master. Basically, the plot here is that Eggplant Wizard and King Hippo have to get into the palace to plant a cassette recorder. A video cassette recorder, but that isn't a video cassette, it's a audio cassette.
Well, maybe it's Laserbeak. Laserbeak can record video. How many Transformers references can I put in this episode?
Unlike my other warriors, you never fail me. So they go to the palace and the design of the... Okay, this is part of the plot, even though I'm going to be negative here. The design of the palace. How does Videoland have television? How do they have... If you look at the Palace of Power, it's a weird, like, cylinder kind of... It's... The Palace of Power, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember in science class when sometimes you would have experiments where you put two 2-liter bottles, one the regular way and the other one upside down, you put water in the bottom one, you clasp them two together, and then you can make a cyclone out of it.
Yeah.
That's basically the shape of the Palace of Power. How does this place have an antenna so they can watch television? And the channels, oh my god, it's so weird. It's like watching British or Canadian TV.
I actually have one of those things that connects two 2-liter bottles together. I don't know where I got it, but I have it.
I don't even know if they still sell them anymore.
That's a neat thing.
It is.
But anyway.
Anyways. So Eggplant Wizard and King Hippo have this device that Dr. Wily made up for Mother Brain. They have to go and they have to manually point it at the characters to steal their most dangerous memories or their most... basically... My god. You have a fat gooey version of the Scarecrow is basically to steal their fears with this thing. And we pointed at Duke at first, and we pointed at Mega Man, at Simon, at Kid Icarus. I don't think... Did Lana ever get zapped?
No, but that would have been a good idea had they done it.
Yeah, it would have been a real good idea, because we would have gotten more plot with her, because I know they've mentioned her father is missing or is not there anymore, so it would have been a really good idea if they pointed at her. So they finally aim it in the right direction and get Kevin's memories, and they they do all this and everything else, and they get his memories, and but they're found out, they escape, and then they bring the memories back to Dr. Wily, and he creates the android version of Mike Vincent. Why? Why did they just read out his N? Why didn't they put an M there to have it? Because he even says later in the episode, "Meet my M team, M for monsters." Like, why couldn't his letter on his jacket be M instead of N? But again, I guess it would be the thing of, oh, they went to the same school and the varsity jacket is whatever.
Yeah.
Overall, I like the plot. I think it's interesting. I like how the plot ends up with the whole the android getting its comeuppance of finally realizing that they can be friends, and Kevin kind of gets some closure with, because who knows when he's going to be able to get back home. So that was nice. Any other thoughts on the plot?
Not really.
All right, we're gonna head on over and punch those power pads.
Wow, they sure have some weird movies in Videoland, hey Duke?
Let's see what's on channel 4212. Oh, my favorite! Wombat Man!
I just want to know one thing, Bruce. Are we going to try to love each other?
Probably not. Now, where did I leave the keys to the Wombat Mobile, anyway?
Hey, what happened to the picture?
Oh, it must be the antenna again. I'll call the repair crew.
Here, let me help you with those dishes, Princess.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, please!
There's someone at the door, Kiss.
I'll get it! Who are you?
TV repair eggplant. Repairman.
My, you sure got here fast.
All right, we are button mashing over here. Well, all the classic movie monsters are here. Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy. I feel like some Count Chocula right about now.
Yeah, they're just not in their Universal movie forms, because all of them had to be altered in some way.
Well, the Mummy, I mean, the Mummy is standard, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure even that was kind of an invention of the... Well, I don't know.
Right. But I mean, mummies in general, they're... Even though he's supposed to be the mummy from the Mummy, but, you know, I don't know. I really do like how this one ended up, as I said earlier, and I like seeing stuff from Kevin's, but like that was a cool beat showing, Kevin saying, "What about all the good times Mike and I had before? We used to be best friends before he started a bullying."
Like when we snuck into a girls' sleepover party. They're like, "Oh, way to go!"
See,
kind of creepy, but I don't think it's something I wouldn't have done.
Oh boy. I had a laugh at the end because they pulled a Star Wars death.
Oh yeah, he faded away.
He vanishes in a flash of light. Yep. What'd you like about this one?
Kind of. Well, we commented on the most dangerous game thing, but it wasn't that entirely. I mean, it was more of like a... God, I can't really think of a good example, but it was actually like these two characters against each other, really, instead of like one hunting the other. And I kind of like that it was about it's kind of like redemption and like how he really wasn't that bad a guy. He's just kind of like went through being a teenager, and teenagers kind of being the jerks that they are. Yeah, take that, listeners. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, at the end, it's just like, I didn't have to beat him because all I had to do was remind him of what a good person he was, and that's how it ended. It really wasn't about like Kevin winning.
Yeah. Send all hate mail to Neil at animationaficionados.com. All right. Yeah, and again, the animation. Oh, okay, sure. I griped about that his jacket wasn't or just a red N instead of an M, but the animation in this is really good. The sound effects and the music are really good. We're 3 episodes in, and I'm not yet sick of Mega Move.
Oh.
It's going to happen eventually, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, they had the rights to Tetris. So, we are going to get zapped in a moment.
Will you stop fooling around?
Hi, handsome.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that channel.
All right, we are going to get zapped. So, point and record onto a cassette tape then. The technology in the 90s was weird. Because they said it was a cassette. They never said a video cassette. The thing looks like a video camera, but it is a cassette tape in the thing.
Yeah, it's very clearly a 4-track audio tape.
Alright, another thing. Well, yeah, okay. So in the last episode, How's Bayou, they did a gag where King Hippo became a tossed salad and fit through a very, very tiny warp zone.
Oh, I was going to mention that, and I forgot about it. Because there were so many double entendres in that scene.
No, I know. Yet, in this episode, we have what looks like to be a giant bathtub that they jump into. What? Why? What, like... I don't get... I'm not trying to be negative about this, but I guess I'm gonna be. I don't get how all these warp zones are tinier than the characters are. For the most part. You know. Like... Most of... Okay, sure, Mega Man and Kid Icarus can fit through anything since they're technically midgets. Well, Kid Icarus is a flying midget. But the rest of the characters are all standard human size. In King Hippo's case, he's oversized, but I just don't get why the warp zones are teeny tiny holes in the wall.
You got me, I don't know.
I don't know. And the other note I had was, and this is I do have a couple more after this. The banana would be so dented and brown. The giant banana that would not have survived rolling down that.
Oh right, the Indiana Jones scene. Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of another weird non sequitur in this cartoon.
And the final 2 negative notes are surprise, surprise about the worst vampire hunter in the history of Videoland. Simon is, I can't even explain how stupid, vain, and idiotic he is. I know you've said that's his character, but he just annoys the crap out of me. And then he goes on, is it my hair? Is there something in my nose? Yes, Simon, there's borscht for brains all over you. Oh, my God. What didn't you like about this one? Anything?
Well, I'm going to say that I actually have it written down here that I'm officially tired of Mega Move. I've had enough of it already. It's like, as soon as it starts up, it's like, oh, God. Make it stop. Yeah, that is going to be the soundtrack of this entire show.
Yeah, pretty much. And the funny thing is I don't remember the songs that were replaced, and they're not listed. I mean, I'll look again. I I know they're not listed with the episodes. Like when we did Super Show, it was listed with the episodes as far as what song would have played. But I do not remember whatsoever. Let's see. Episodes, cast, comic book, cancellation. It doesn't even list. Okay, DVD releases and changes. The official Captain N DVD set was released in North America on February 27, 2007 by Shout Factory and Sony BMG Music Entertainment. Though the set is called a complete series, there are some omissions. Season 3 is not included, obviously. Episode 27, When Mother Brain Rules, which was a clip show episode, was not included on the master tapes that Deke sent to Shout Factory, so this episode is not included on the set. The unfinished original version of House Bayou is included. Shout Factory received the tapes used for Family Channel airings in Season 2. Teasers are not included. Scene about 2 minutes long from the episode Queen of the Apes is absent from the earliest. Okay, covers of the pop songs used in the original broadcast are replaced with an instrumental version of the Mega Move song from Feud of Fazanadu. As they were in syndication reruns, it is obviously due to rights issues involving the songs. Songs in Season 2's episodes were not actual popular songs, but songs done exclusively for the series, so they're kept intact. Yeah, so yay, go music rights. And I get it, a DVD company's not going to want to pay out the butt for
especially
music
Shout
rights.
Factory.
Well, I mean, they're an amazing company. I'm not going to say anything bad about them, but I don't know. It would have been nice for some of these DVD sets to have the songs, as intended original, but yeah. All right. Where are we? We still on bad moments?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I was going to ask you if Simon Belmont went up against Bella and Edward, who would you be rooting for?
I'd bring in Angel and have him kill them all. Ringer.
Well played.
All right, so up next we are going to take a video game musical interlude along with some ads, and we'll come back with final ratings for each of the episodes today, final thoughts, and tell you what's coming up in 2 weeks on the show after this.
you looking for a weekly dose of gaming news and retro? And check out Off the Cuff, available Fridays on Geekcast Radio Network from the producers of XRG. New name, same.
Alright, we are back. And before we get into our pimpage of other stuff we're doing, rating the episodes today, I am going to give Kevin and Videoland a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 stars. Or 5 out of 5 power pads, or however. We haven't really discussed how we're going to do that. It's basically going off of the GCRN Universal Rating System, which 5 is perfect, 4.5 is almost perfect, and so on and so forth. Like I said, Kevin in Videoland is it's your standard opening plot, but it sets up the series very well. As we already said, reluctant hero, actually wants to stay and help Videoland and everything else. Other than my notes about Simon and his lifelike whip. Ugh, God. I can overlook that and give this episode a 5. What about you for Kevin and Videoland?
I'll give it a 5. Like I said, I was grading on a curve earlier, so Captain N is probably going to get most of the 5s from me.
How's Bayou? I gotta give it a 2. It's the execution and how she finds out that he's not good at it. It's just that giant gaping Grand Canyon of a plot hole. What about you?
I'll give it a 2 as well. It had almost nothing to do with the video game other than kind of implying that it's a difficult game. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with Bayou Billy. There's nothing that would excite you about the game. And if you were excited watching this episode, the game is nothing like this. Yeah. And so it's and the plot was kind of weak, so I didn't really go for it.
Let me ask you, at the end of, we didn't talk about this in the episode review, but at the end of the episode, Billy's like, "Kid, grab the star." Was the star in the game?
It might have been.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Listeners who have played The Adventures of Bayou Billy, let us know if some mystical, magical star that gives Kevin invincibility was in Adventures of Bayou Billy.
It might have been some generic pickup, to give you extra health or something, but I don't remember.
Yeah. And the most dangerous game master. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great. I thought it gave great character development to Kevin. I'm going to give it a 4 to 5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well.
I take 1 point off for how stupid Simon is in this episode. All right, so what has been going on over at Animation Aficionados? Not what's coming up. What have you guys been up to since last week at an episode of Pixels?
We've been catching up on holiday leftovers. We did a Thanksgiving Day episode, which, it wasn't recorded on Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving. So, the reason why it's late is just because we recorded it late. And we did a Christmas episode, and by the time you're listening to this, there should be an episode based on 8 Crazy Nights.
Neil's most favorite animated Christmas film ever.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it, but there are...
Yeah. What else you got going on? I know you're doing your web comic. What's going on with that?
Well, I'm finishing up a side story arc called Energized to See, and that'll be ending this week. And then I'll be moving on to another side story. So there'll actually be a lot of side stories for the first half of the year.
Very cool, very cool. As always, on the Geekcast Radio Network, we have plenty of stuff going on. If you are looking for a movie news/discussion podcast, MWire has gone weekly. MWire Weekly, hosted by Optimus Solo and Movie Revolt Dan, is going every Monday or Tuesday, normally, depending on when those guys can get to record. They've covered films like Her, The Hobbit, Desolation of Dragon, because I refuse to say the actual name of the film. I don't even know. Yeah, what a...
Or Smog, if
yeah,
not pretentious.
Worst name ever.
Yeah. Those of us who aren't pretentious call it Smog.
Yeah, smug. Yeah, smug. There you go. It's a smug. I'm not a fan of the Hobbit stuff. Anyway, we also have Geekcast Radio, the flagship podcast. We are swinging back into full production on GCR. We just ended the top 100 animated films countdown last year. Episode 58 is going to be it was going to be 2015, the year Hollywood exploded, where we talk about every single piece of film released that Hollywood has going to cram into 12 months of 2015. I'm not sure if that's going to happen now for that specific episode number, because Steve, Megatron, and I found this really cool site of businesses' slogans, what they are, and what they should really mean. So we may do an episode of that. We also have coming up episode 59 for GCR will be Entertaining Paparazzi. It's going to be my exploration of how news media has changed since I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, there was Entertainment Tonight, and then there was Current Affair and Hard Copy. And now we have E-News, we have Twitter, we have TMZ, we have all these gossip television news shows. And it's just fascinating to me that back when I was a kid, and I'm going to use this as an example because it is one of my favorite live-action films, when I would watch Cocktail, I didn't give a crap about what Tom Cruise is doing in his real life. I cared about the character he was playing on the damn movie. And now, today, it's, oh my god, this person split from this person, or this person is having sextuplets, or this royal family is having... I don't ever think any of these princes, these two princes, I don't think they'll ever hit getting the throne. As long as Elizabeth is still alive. It's just nuts. So I do want to explore that on Geekcast Radio. The Pull Bag, we've got consistent comic discussion and coverage going on over there. Beyond the Night is our Knight Rider show. We just, oh thank God, we ended the Team Knight Rider coverage last year. We're beginning the Knight Rider 2008 coverage now. Tons of stuff going on over at GeekCastRadio.com. Check out Altered Geek, which is the unofficial flagship show, the relaxed, laid-back, seat-of-your-pants kind of topic show with Steve Megatron and Mike Powers. Very, very awesome stuff. Also in February, Tales of Eternia, our He-Man show, is coming back after a lengthy, quote-unquote, planned hiatus. So we've got all that coming up. And of course, as you know, as you can hear with this episode, Pixels and Animation has returned. So thank you for joining us here on the show. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcasterradio.com. You can also check out all of the episodes of Animation Aficionados over there on their website. Email us, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. We have 2 new iTunes reviews, Neil.
Are they kind?
Well, they kind of are. One is a little, not negative, but a little more constructive. The first one is from a longtime GCRN listener, from C. Maximus, says, "Looking good, guys. 5-star reviews. Hey, Mike and Mr. Neil. I happened to stumble onto this podcast by listening to one of your other podcasts a little while ago." This was left on November 15th of last year. Sorry, we were already out of production by then for the Zelda episodes. For some reason, I could not find it on iTunes right away, so I couldn't listen to them on my iPod, which is the main source of how I listen to podcasts. I have listened and commented on the majority of the Geekcast Radio Network's podcasts for a number of years now, and Geekcast Radio is my number one source of podcasting. So far, I'm almost done listening to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show portion of the podcast. Hopefully by now, January 2014, you have listened to the Zelda episodes, sir. So far, so good. I feel for you guys for how long that series dragged on. It had its high moments, but overall it was pretty mediocre, especially compared to future Mario cartoons, at least in my opinion. I didn't grow up with all of these cartoons, but Donkey Kong Country and the 2 Sonic cartoons were a big part of my childhood. Too bad you guys aren't doing Sonic Underground, because I feel that show blended the 2 previous Sonic shows together, even though I didn't care for the songs as much. Once again, great job. Keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what's in store for your other listeners and myself. Happy listening. Yeah, Sonic Underground, it wasn't something, like, for me, Sonic Underground came after I was after I wasn't interested in the video game stuff for a while when it came to the cartoons. The first two series are, like, what I'm really interested in looking at. Maybe, possibly, Neil and I could do a Tooncast Beyond episode where we explore Sonic Underground in depth. Not in-depth episode reviews, but, maybe an hour episode or something like that. The other one, the other review is coming from Cosmic Psycho, left on November 27th, 2013. Good but not great. 3-star review. I came into this podcast a bit late, but after the first 10 episodes, I feel like it should be called Painted Sigh Podcast, or Pain Sigh Podcast. It seems like there are more sighs and groans than actual dialogue. I understand not liking the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, but if it's really as bad as it seems, then it probably should have been limited to this show is not worth watching and then move on to the next one.
Maybe.
Then we wouldn't have a 100-episode podcast.
Yeah, it would be like...
yeah.
You'd have like about 10 episodes in a row where it's just silence. or maybe us just like playing Mad Libs or something.
Yeah. Cosmic Psycho, I understand your criticism, and maybe you're right. But as I said in the first 15 episodes of the show, episode 1 to episode 15, I went in believing that Super Show was going to be good. I really, really did. And then slowly, it was like, Batman spilled acid on me and turned me into the Joker or something, because it slowly deteriorated as we went along. So I hope, Cosmic Psycho, you are still listening. I hope you listen to the Zelda episodes and the Captain N episodes. We're going to be a lot more positive. Sure, this episode I had a lot of negative points to point out because I just don't care about Simon at all. But that's really my only, so far to this point, 3 episodes in, that's really my only issue with Captain N the Game Master is Simon Belmont. The piss poor characterization of him. I get why his character is needed, but so hopefully you're sticking with us. Follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio is the network Twitter. Mine is TFG and Mike. What is your Twitter, sir?
Neil Sama.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also go to facebook.com/Animation Aficionados. And Decian has Facebook, don't they?
I'm pretty sure it's Decian Comic.
Okay. Call the voicemail line. Tell us show you leaving the message for, and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this latest episode of Pixels in Animation and wish you'll join us next time when we'll be reviewing 3 more episodes from Captain N the Game Master. Those being Video Olympics, Mega Trouble for Megaland, and Wishful Thinking. Oh boy. For now, I am TFG and Mike with...
TV's Mr. Neil of NoSuperPants.com, because I forgot to plug it earlier.
Yes. NoSuperPants.com. Go there now. We will be back 2 weeks from now with a brand new Pixels in the Animation.
And save Videoland from that evil...
Thank you, Simon. We're indebted to you. And to the rest of you as well. You too, Duke. And as for you, you may have helped me win the battle, but the war is far from over. You will stay and help defend Videoland, won't you?
Sorry, Your Highness, but I've got to get back to my world.
Yes, well, it was very nice of you to drop by. Do come back and visit us soon in, say, 20 years.
Kevin, you better not be playing that foolish game. You have homework to do. And don't forget to take out the trash.
On second thought, I guess I could stay just a little while longer. Let's face it, I'm hooked.
thought I told you to clean up your room.
Captain N, the Game Master.